I'm Lisa Stone. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Parenting Aces. Welcome to this week's Parenting Aces podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Stone, and as y'all know, I am out at the NCAA Division I Tennis Championships at the University of Georgia in Athens, and I have just had a blast this week being out here watching these amazing student athletes leave it all out on the court, match after match, day after day. The heat has been crazy. We've had rain delays. We've had all sorts of stuff going on, but somehow these kids manage to get their heads right and get on the court and just keep battling. And it's just so impressive. It's been so much fun for me to be out here, not only because I love the tennis, but also because I've made so many friends in college tennis over the past few years doing Parenting Aces. And so I get to see some of my buddies, some of the coaches, players, the parents, the industry folks that are out here. And every time I do an event like this, I learn new things and get exposed to new things. So I'm just having a blast. But so on this week's podcast, I had the opportunity to interview Josh Graves, who works for Playsight. And I think y'all are going to enjoy Josh's update on what's happening at Playsight and how it's being used in college tennis and even in junior tennis. So I hope you enjoy this week's podcast with Josh Graves. I will be quiet now and let you listen in. Enjoy it. Good morning and welcome to the Parenting Aces podcast. I am coming at you live from Athens, Georgia at the NCAA Championships, and I'm here with Josh Graves from Playsight. Josh, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So first things first, why don't you give our listeners a little bit of your background in tennis and how you got to where you are today with Playsight?
Yeah, so I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, training out of there, and it was always tough getting indoor courts, finding practice partners, kind of the normal story for a Midwestern or East Coast player. During high school, went down to Saddlebrook Tennis Academy for a couple of semesters, my sophomore and senior year, to try to get some additional training in. It really helped my game. And then I was recruited by Northwestern. I went there and played on the team there, and played a little bit after school, and then went into the business world. It shifted kind of my goals and gears, and worked at eBay for a little bit, and then happened to be a practice partner for a lesson in New York City on the first Playsight smart court that was installed in the United States, and saw the technology, loved it, and shifted gears to go work at Playsight.
What was your college degree in from Northwestern?
It was in economics.
Okay. And so, I mean, when you went to college, was the plan to stay out on the tour for a while, or was it to make your way into the business world?
Yeah, it's funny because when I was at Saddlebrook, I was looking at the players there and the grinding lifestyle that basically professional tennis is, and I decided, this might not be for me, and I'm going to try to be the best I can be and play college tennis, but not really do anything after. And then I went to college, and I had a couple of great coaches. Arvid Swan was the head coach, and Chris Drake was my assistant coach, who's now the head coach at Dartmouth, and they really helped me develop my freshman and sophomore year. Freshman year, I was playing great, and they kind of sat me down and said, "Hey, you should think about playing after school." And that's kind of when my mindset changed. And the rest of college, I planned on playing professionally. Had to deal with a pretty bad back injury for the last couple years of college, and that kind of prevented me from playing more. So I only played for a few months after school.
Got it. So when you were making that transition from tennis to the business world, how did you draw on your experiences in your tennis life to help you with the interview process, with, talking to people, networking, and trying to figure out where you wanted to land professionally?
Yeah, it's not the easiest transition when you've been only thinking about tennis your whole life, and that's pretty much where I was at. I never did an internship and never really gave it any thought, just because I was so focused on tennis.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people are at when they're done with the tennis careers. And but I tried to just use the same concentration, focus that I'd used in tennis, the same goal setting, with business. And so I started doing research. I thought about what I wanted to do, the normal stuff anyone would do. I went to New York to look for jobs, to be there and interview, and I just tried a few things out, interviewed at a few different places, and then finally landed on something that looked good and would give me some broad business experience. I wasn't really set on needing to find the perfect job right off the bat. Luckily, I feel like I found it pretty early on. This is a great job. I love it, being at Playsight, but the first job was more about getting some broad business experience.
What does your role at Playsight look like on a day-to-day basis?
The role, well, it's part of being a startup company. It's been a lot of fun because I've done a bunch of different things. And so I have my hands in product development, in QA, in client service, and then in sales as my primary role. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm definitely focused on sales. But Playsight's giving me the opportunity to experience a lot of different things. So kind of continuing that, broad business experience concept.
That's awesome. So the first time I ever heard of Playsight or got to see it was actually here in Athens at University of Georgia during the NCAA Championships in 2014. And I met some people and they said, "Oh, you should come check this out. It's kind of cool." And they gave me kind of the rundown. And I remember being in the indoor courts and looking at this kiosk, and Dave Fish from Harvard was in there and, taking a look at it as well. Playsight's come a long way since 2014. How many schools are y'all in now, and how has the product changed and grown so that it's becoming more of an accessible product for people?
Yeah, so it's changed a lot since 2014 when you saw it here. That actually was the first college installation. We did it right before the NCAA tournament. Now, a few years later, we're working with about 40 schools across all three divisions. And we're really proud of what we've done with college tennis and our partnership with the ITA, and hopefully what it will do for the visibility of college tennis. And part of what we've done with the product development since then is develop additional products that maybe are more affordable for the masses, and that also kind of touch on all the needs of college tennis, coming from the basic need of recording video and live streaming video. We have a product that is called the Live Court. It does just that, streams and records video. Well, there's other smart features when the video is uploaded online, but that's kind of our basic system, which is on 16 of the courts here at Georgia. And then we have a one step up. It's called the Smart Court Play system. Also gives additional features I can get into maybe later. And then the Pro system is what you saw, the kiosk, all the analytics and stats, and tons of other tools that are meant to be coaching tools and player development tools.
Of the 32 teams that are here for the Sweet 16 piece of this tournament, 16 women's teams, 16 men's teams, how many of those schools actually have some sort of Playsight technology on their campus?
Out of these schools at the NCAA tournament, 20 out of the 32 men's and women's teams have Playsight, and I think it's on the men's side, I know it's 10 out of 16. And ranked in the top 50, we were working with 19 of the top 50 men's teams and 21 of the top 50 women's teams. And hopefully expanding that over the summer as we look ahead to next season.
One of the things that I've kind of been ranting about this year is the widening gap between the haves and the have-nots in college tennis. And, it seems as though the Power 5 schools really are kind of pulling away from the rest of the college teams. And it's a concern, as a parent, it's a concern because, of course, not all of our children can play in a Power 5 school. They're not good enough. They don't have the grades. They don't have the opportunity, whatever, maybe not the desire to play at that level. So I'm curious how Playsight sees itself kind of helping out with that. And, one of my big pet peeves is that there's schools in Division I that don't have scoreboards on campus. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me that, some of the schools have y'all's amazing technology and then other schools don't even have a scoreboard. So I'm curious how y'all are looking at that and kind of where you see your role and maybe helping some of these other programs catch up, in terms of technology.
Yeah, so We view college tennis as one of the best products out there in terms of sports. College tennis is the most exciting, I would say. You know it from seeing a lot of the dual matches. Just watching the Georgia UNC point there for doubles, so exciting. Crowds going crazy. The players are more emotional than I think in any other sport. So our goal is to try to increase the visibility of the great product that is college tennis, and hopefully through that it'll help athletic departments, put more money toward tennis, and kind of come back around. But if we can get at least the live system installed on a lot of courts, then the live streaming will be out there. People will be able to tune into the matches. But we're aware that a lot of schools are just dealing with trying to get new lighting or resurfacing the courts, and the budgets are limited. So we're just hopeful that over time, with the increased visibility, that'll change.
So your role is primarily sales. When you go talk to a school that, let's say, is behind the times in terms of their technology, how do you sell an athletic department on putting money into a tennis program where, let's face it, tennis is a non-revenue sport? So, how do you help them justify those expenditures?
Yeah, I mean, it's about player development. It's about helping the coaches be the best coaches they can be. And I think if you look at it from that perspective, it's kind of a no-brainer. The products and the tools that we offer are definitely huge for player development. A lot of players that I personally barely ever saw myself play on tape in college and in the juniors, and so that alone is a huge tool that all three of the products give. And I think athletic departments realize that, and if they're investing in improving their programs, then this is a logical thing to invest in.
That makes a lot of sense. How do the coaches use the data that they gather from Playsight to improve their players?
We've seen a lot of different ways. One of the great features is real-time drills. So actually not even gathering data after the practice, but during the practice in real time, setting up a drill to track the ball to go into a certain target zone and have a certain shot hit. So we could say, let's hit first to 30 balls cross court into this specific target zone, and the Playsight system will track whether the ball is going into that zone or not, and whether you hit the right shot. So if I hit a forehand inside out, I don't get the point, but if I hit a backhand cross court, I get the point. And we're actually adding additional features, like you have to hit that backhand cross court into the target zone, but you also have to get above this speed and this height over the net. So one thing we've seen college coaches talk about is increasing the competitiveness of drills and in practice, increasing the kind of concentration and the accountability of players for their performance during practice. You can see if someone's dogging it in practice based on kind of what their standard is, 80% of balls in the target zone when they do this. This was 50% maybe, So you can see those kinds of data, those kinds of stats, and help keep the players focused through that. And then after matches, I think one of the best features is our ability to filter down the video for specific events. So the system automatically tags every single shot that's hit in a match. And what that allows the coaches to do after is to filter the video down for, let's say, all your first serves down the tee or all of your backhands that went into the net. The ability to do that quickly with the video, I think, allows coaches to be more efficient and for the players to get that video as well.
Absolutely. One of the things that I had the opportunity to watch this year was using Playsight in a new way. Y'all put on a college match and called it Play Fair. It was held on the USC campus, and I got to be out there for a day. It was pretty cool. And I did a piece on that after the event, and I had interviewed some of the players and some of the coaches, and overall everybody just absolutely loved it. Can you explain the kind of concept of Play Fair and what made y'all decide to come up with this and how you see it kind of evolving as we go forward?
Yeah, the Play Fair is one of most exciting things I think we're working on. We're hoping that the video challenge system that's part of the Playsight, the Play system and the Pro system, that could be implemented in college dual matches. What that means is perhaps both players would get 2 challenges per set. They can call it at any time. The umpire will then take a look at the video review and either stick with the call, overrule it, or maybe it's inconclusive and then the player keeps the challenge. We compare it to like the Mac Cam. If you remember that at the US Open, they used to have the slow motion frame by frame of the ball. We think that's the best way to tell if a ball is in or out, to actually look at the video footage. And you're able to zoom in, go slow motion, go in frame by frame, and really see where the ball bounced. And that's what you see basketball referees and in the NFL. They go to the video review, and we think this could be great for college tennis. Of course, we all know that there's some close calls in college tennis, and there's a lot of emotions. Your eyes see what they want to see, and this would just allow the players to play more freely. That's some of the feedback we got at that Playfair tournament at USC. It allowed the players to just play freely without worrying about anything. It becomes more fun for the players, and it's actually a great experience for the fans as well, because you got the slow clap going as they go to the challenge, and it's just really exciting.
It is. And I heard the same thing from the players and the coaches. I mean, the coaches felt like they didn't have to, be so worried about watching where every ball hit, that, they kind of had this backup system in place. If they felt like either their player made a bad call or their opponent made a bad call, there was something there to back it up.
Exactly. I remember playing, and it just takes up mental space when you're having to worry about line calls, and then what happens if I make a call that's close, and then people are questioning it, and the crowd gets on me, and this just makes takes that whole thing away. And I think it's better for the coaches, the players, the umpires like it as well. So I think it's good all around.
Where do you see it kind of going next? I mean, do you see it rolling out pretty widely among college tennis matches, or is it still kind of in its beta phase?
I definitely see it rolling out next year. We've done the pilots. We've seen that it works great, that everyone loves it, meaning everyone being all kind of 3 important parties in this: the umpires, the coaches, the players. I guess the fans could be a 4th. So we've seen that it works. We've actually done it with the USTA as well in junior tournaments, and it's been great, and the feedback's been great. So next year, we're hoping that we can formalize this and call it Playfair dual matches, and we'll definitely keep trying to install more systems. The Smart Court Play was developed specifically for this purpose. It's 2 cameras that give you video review from both angles. You can always install additional cameras. But it's at a lower price point than the Pro system, so hopefully tons of colleges can get that on their 6 courts and have the challenge system ready to go.
Just to give listeners an idea, you say a lower price point. Can you give us some hard numbers? What does it cost for a school to install the various types of Playsight offerings?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of variation in packages, so it really depends. But we sign 3-year full service agreements. The cost covers everything from equipment and the installation to also unlimited live streaming, which I think is a big feature. A lot of other systems, you can't just stream as much as you want. You have to pay per viewer and per stream, and this is unlimited live streaming, software upgrades and maintenance and support. It's all included. The price varies a lot from the live system up to the Pro system, but we can install 1 live and 5 pros, or 2 and 4. So we put together different packages depending on what the school has in the budget, and we like to think that at the least the 6 lives can fit in any program's budget.
Okay. So you're not going to give me hard numbers.
Well, it's tough to give hard numbers just because the cost varies, depending on what the products are, how many cameras you have, and everything.
Another one of the things that I keep saying is that these college programs need to get out and find sponsors to help them bring technology like this into their program, and that it would pay for itself, pretty quickly, I think. I know you're working with the ITA. Is this maybe something y'all will help schools with too, in terms of how do we finance this?
Yeah.
We're a mid-major D1 school that, like I said, doesn't even have an electronic scoreboard. Why
Right.
would you think we can
Right.
afford this?
Yeah, great question. I mean, we're looking at different ways to try to get creative and help out, and we're keen on doing that, especially in this upcoming year, to really try to get this to every program, D1, D2, D3. There's tons of programs out there. They all need streaming and video recording at the least. Coaches want it, so it really comes down to whether they can afford it or not. And we hate to see a program that wants this and feels like they need it and they can't do it because of the cost. So we're definitely thinking about different ways to make that happen, and potentially sponsorships of the system. There's several different ways we're thinking about, but hopefully that'll happen soon.
That's great. I know Oracle has really tried to become a big presence in college tennis, and they're trying to get creative with how they can help promote the sport and help finance different things. I would love to see them get involved with you guys. I know you would too.
Yeah, absolutely. An amazing brand like Oracle, and to represent the college tennis and to work with them would be really amazing. Or other brands that are out there that want to help college tennis. I think this Play Fair initiative, I think it's a great thing to be a part of. You're changing college tennis in a huge way by trying to curb bad line calls, and then the visibility aspects. I think those are the two major things that someone like Oracle would come in and potentially help just totally change the visibility of college tennis and make it a lot more fun for the players and everyone involved with the Play Fair.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Let's switch gears for a minute and talk about Playsight's application in junior tennis, because I've done so many articles on cheating in junior tennis, and I mean that's, I guess, probably one of the most common questions I get through Parenting Aces is, how do I help my kid deal with the cheaters out there, and does it get better? And the answer is, it doesn't really get better. I mean, it still exists at the college tennis level, but how can we help these kids do a better job of line calling in the juniors, and how could Playsight kind of feed into that process?
Yeah, so it's funny. One of the effects we've seen of the Play Fair tournament is that it actually deters the bad line calling. So it's you almost wind up using the challenge system minimally because they're already making good calls.
Nobody wants to get called out on video on the big screen in front of the home crowd. So.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody wants that. And if that does happen and they see that they were overruled, that's a learning experience. And then I think that's a process, like anything else. You're looking at your forehand cross court on video and you're learning from that. Well, you see that you saw the ball wrong, and you learn, your eyes learn to see the ball the right way, where it actually landed by going over to the video. So yeah. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. So at the junior level, same thing?
Yeah, junior level, same thing. I think especially at the junior level, that's when you're learning a lot, trying to figure out your game, and same thing with line calls, and catching that from an early age, because it's a habit that you can develop. If you start making bad line calls when you're 11, 12, it might stick with you just as a habit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can kind of see that you're making a bad call then, and kind of get called out on it in a way, I think that'll change you permanently, and your habits change, and you start making good calls.
So you mentioned that you guys did a Play Fair tournament at the junior level through USTA. What's on tap with that moving forward? Yeah,
we're hoping that'll get formalized soon. The hope is that you'll go on the USTA website and you'll be able to see this is a Play Fair tournament. This isn't. And any player that plays in that tournament will have the challenge system. We'll also get the video of their matches. So it's a big value. Cool. Yeah, huge value add for the players in it. The tournament directors, I think, would love it. And so we're hoping for the go ahead with it. And but we've already done a couple of sanctioned USTA tournaments. It's gone great. And the next step is just formalizing that with the USTA.
So that would entail also having Playsight installed at a lot more facilities around the country and potentially around the world if the ITF buys in too. So again, going back to your role in sales, how do you pitch this to a local club, or a public parks facility? Because a lot of the junior tournaments utilize the public parks, utilize local clubs, utilize high schools.
Right.
What's the carrot for them to spend the money to install this system?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different, I think, levels to it. You have the live streaming, which is a core component. So any tournament you can live stream now if you install this. It acts as a revenue generator, especially for tournaments, I'd say. But then, of course, as a player development tool, and coaches will be better. So the coaches can use it during lessons. Players get to get the video of their matches. You can live stream tournaments. There's a lot of different elements to it, but the Play Fair initiative is definitely one of the things we'll talk about with club owners that are thinking about whether or not to install this, so they can promote that they have this, not just for USTA tournaments, but also their leagues, their challenge ladder matches.
Are you saying that cheating happens even in adult league tennis?
Actually, I didn't think that it did, but now that I've been working here for a while, I've talked to some people at clubs, and I realize that is around even with USTA leagues.
Yeah, a little bit. Things can get testy out there sometimes.
Yeah, its emotions are high, whether it's playing for the NCAA title here or it's, when you're out on the tennis court, it's competitive.
For sure. So what else is on tap for Playsight? I mean, are y'all looking to expand to professional events? Like I mentioned before, the ITF circuit, is that something on y'all's radar? The USTA Pro Circuit events? And with the ITF announcing this new kind of entry-level professional circuit that's going to happen, what could Playsight, could y'all play a role there?
Yeah, I think with what we're doing with college tennis can kind of be brought to other markets and like professional tennis, USTA tournament centers, kind of the same thing we're doing with college tennis, we can replicate it. That would be our goal, to try to get this out there as much as we can. At the least, the video recording and live streaming. Hopefully the full package, which is, as you saw here a few years ago, it's just an incredible tool, the Pro system. And we have Indian Wells, a couple courts there, going to hopefully expand that this year, and as kind of a model for other tournament sites on the professional tennis level. And we're also going to other sports as well, so that's been a big focus for Playsight, going into basketball and soccer and swimming even, underwater. So we're really excited about that and bringing the coaching tool to other sports and seeing how that goes.
You're not going to ditch tennis though, right?
No, definitely not. No, this is our flagship. We've been a tennis company since 2010 when it was started. That's been the focus, and we're still going to be developing the features, more, adding new stuff, and we're really excited about where we're going with tennis.
That's cool. So there are a lot of companies popping up here and there, and I've had a few of their founders or creators on this podcast that are doing some high-tech things in tennis, whether it's video analysis or whether it's wearable technology. I think tennis is finally starting to understand that it needs to get with the program in terms of technology. Can you give us a little bit of background? I had Gordon Euling on this podcast when the company first started, so that was a while back, and I haven't had him back on, but maybe you can share with the listeners kind of what the impetus was behind the creation of Playsight and how kind of the mission statement of the company developed and has maybe morphed a little bit as the company has grown.
Yeah, well, I think the founders saw that at top levels of tennis, the professional level, that the players have access to video and analytics and tools that the mass market didn't have. So the goal was developing a system that could be brought to the mass market, to the junior tennis players, to the competitive adult player who is really trying to get better at tennis and make it more fun for everyone too. And so that was really the goal, to get it to the mass market, to clubs, to academies, not just to the U.S. Open and Wimbledon. And it's interesting with basketball, it's happened to almost go the other way. We've started working with the Warriors and the Suns and UNC's basketball team, and now we're seeing the academies and clubs kind of become aware of it. But that wasn't even the intention with basketball either. Our goal has always been to really bring it to the mass market and to connect athletes globally. So the amazing thing about the platform, the website and the app, is once the video is uploaded there, you can share it with a coach or a player that's in China or Australia, and cool. It's with a click of a button. And so our goal eventually, once we have this installed on a lot of courts, is then to connect people digitally through the smart courts.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I think, the whole idea of, from the parent side, we spend a lot of money on our kids' junior development, and not everyone can afford to pay for a coach to travel to tournaments with their kids. So if your child's playing on a smart court, to be able to share that match video immediately with the coach before the next round,
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, even at Indian Wells, with the professionals playing there, we had a couple requests for to turn the streaming on and have someone watch remotely. We hear that a lot, and just to be able to watch in real time as a coach remotely, or just have the video in your personal account after the end of the match, and review it, and maybe even clip up a little annotated video, send it back to the player, and then they'll have a video and the voice of their coach right there in their pocket, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, I actually, my son's team played on Playsight enabled courts a couple times this year, and that's when I wasn't able to travel to the matches, I got to watch via Playsight. It was a real treat to get to do that.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's cool. And I didn't have that. I used to travel in the juniors. I would call my dad after the matches, tell him how it went, but I wasn't able to actually show him the video. And I feel like he would have had a lot of. My dad was one of my coaches growing up, my main coach, I would say. And he would have had a lot. Are y'all
still friends?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Definitely, and we still hit. We still get out there. He's still hitting a good ball. But he would have had a lot of good insights that I didn't get otherwise, because he didn't see the matches. So
sure.
But for the most part, my dad was traveling with me, so I gotta say that here too.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So for the parents again listening to this, let's say their child is training at Club A or Public Park B. How can the parents help you get these club owners or the public park commissions to bring Playsight to their facilities? What can we do as parents to facilitate that?
Yeah, I think it's really going to the owner or the tennis director and saying, "Hey, this would be an amazing tool. I think we should take a look at this. Have a call with the Playsight people." Once that introduction's made, we can try to do the rest. Tell them about the different products, see if there's a fit. An introduction to tennis directors or owners of the club would be a huge help from parents that want to get this player development tool in their clubs.
Yeah, and so once a club calls you or a facility calls you, you come out and you demo. How does that work?
Yeah, we can do demos remotely. We would talk to them, go through the different products, explain what the different options are, see what their needs are, and try to find the perfect package for them, whether it's only the SmartCourt Pro on all the courts, or it's a combination of the different products. That's part of the reason we developed several different products, not only for the college tennis market, but also the clubs that might maybe have different needs. depending on if they're more of a tournament center or if they're more focused on their lessons as their revenue generator. So we have different options, and that's the conversation we'd have with club owners.
Okay. So circling back to the NCAA Championships, since that's where we are right now, I published an article before the championships started about the fact that you guys were going to be broadcasting or live streaming from here. And I have to caveat, I didn't write the article. Playsight provided me with the article, so thank you all very much for that. I love it when somebody does the writing for me. But can you kind of go through the process of establishing that relationship with, I don't know if you had to go through the ITA, through the NCAA, both, to get to the point where y'all are providing the streaming for all of these matches? I mean, it's incredible. And, to my listeners that haven't tuned in, podcast is airing on Tuesday, which is the day of the team final, but the individual tournament starts on Wednesday, so there's a lot more tennis to come. Just talk about how that whole process happened for you guys, and this is a first, right?
Yeah, well, so it started back in 2014. We installed that first court here at Georgia, and we just tried to get the word out. We started off, nobody knew who we were, but we did know that a lot of schools needed live streaming at a minimum, and a lot of schools were looking for other coaching tools. So we just tried to get the word out, and we showed up at a lot of events. We knew some of the coaches already. I had played at Northwestern. I knew some of the coaches, so that was a huge help to kind of get a foot in the door, I guess. And we were excited. The first year, the first couple clients was Princeton and Virginia Tech, and Billy Pate and Jim Thompson, such nice guys, and it was just a blast working with them right off the bat. And we kind of went from there, and Cal was another one of the first, Peter Wright, another awesome guy who's been a huge supporter of Playsight from the beginning. And I think working with a few of those great guys from the start was really a big help to us, and Manny, of course, here, being the first. And just taking it from there. But in general, the process is direct with the coach. The coach generally introduces us to the athletic department, who we then correspond with, and we talk through the facility requirements and the cost, and hopefully set up the installation. But in terms of the NCAA tournament, we work with Baylor. So a couple of years ago, that was streamed by us.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we missed out on Tulsa last year. That was not our live streaming. And then this year, we work with Georgia, and so they were able to tap into the system to stream the NCAA tournament here.
So it was the fact that y'all are live streaming this has to do everything with the fact that you're already here at UGA. You didn't have to deal with NCAA or the ITA to make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. Once it's installed, it's the relationship between the site and the the NCAA or ITA. We're providing the system and the equipment and the technology, and then it's the client's choice. So what they want to do with it.
Got it. And so I know y'all have installed smart courts at the new USTA facility in Lake Nona. Can you talk a little bit about that and how they're using those courts? I know they've used them for the college match days this year. What are the conversations looking like in terms of future use?
Yeah, first of all, have you seen the facility?
I haven't been there. I've seen pictures.
It's
but I have
just
not
amazing.
Been there yet.
I was so impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the chance to go down there for a day, just a quick flight over and walk through the campus. It's really incredible. And I wish as a junior I had that to go train at. But we installed, I think it was 28 Smart Court Pro systems there, and all the rest of the normally sized courts with the live system. Mm-hmm. So the USTA has the video recording, the streaming, and they have the analytics on a lot of the courts. And we just couldn't be more excited. And like college tennis, we're learning from the USTA's needs. So we'll get feedback from the college coaches and hear, we would love to see this feature or this tweak to the drill. And then we go back to the product team and they work on developing a new feature. And I think that's been something really exciting with the USTA is they have so many ideas on what they'd like to see. in terms of player development tools, and that gives us the opportunity to go back and brainstorm. And it's just an exciting thing to be working with the USTA. And from a college standpoint, the 12 college courts there have the Smart Court Pro system, so any visiting school can try out the technology, see what it does, and hopefully they'll have a great experience and want to get it at their own schools.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And as I've reported, the NCAA Championships are going to be in Lake Nona twice over the next 5 years. I suspect they're going to be there a lot more often after that. Much to my chagrin. Nothing against USTA. I just love having it here in Athens, and to me, there's nothing like the atmosphere here. But
yeah, the atmosphere here is amazing. But hopefully, they could pack in a lot of people over there too.
Yeah,
maybe not as much.
I'll reserve comment. We'll wait and see what happens. So, what else do you want us to know about Playsight and what you're doing there? And let's kind of talk about for kids that are coming out of college now and maybe looking for their first job. Is Playsight hiring? What are y'all looking for and as you grow?
Yeah, we're definitely expanding, looking for people that have a passion for sports, that are kind of go-getters, I guess, because there's a lot of freedom in the job to kind of go and come up with your own strategy and go after it. But it's a really exciting place to work. I feel lucky to be at Playsight as a company. You've got a lot of talented engineers and developers behind the scenes. I guess that's what I would really want people to know, is that we have a team of people. It's actually based in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and these guys work tirelessly and to develop new features, and they're really sharp guys and gals, and it's just really fun to work with them and see where the product has gone and where it's going. The product roadmap is long, but it's got a lot of features coming, not just for tennis but other sports as well. And we're excited. For example, in basketball, we've developed what's called a smart tracker. So it actually a camera tracks the movement of the game as if someone's manning a camera and moving the camera up and down the court, and that can solve a big problem for a lot of colleges. Right now they hire someone or they have a volunteer go and video the practices and the games just with a handheld camera and going up and down the court. And so we developed that, and so things like that, it's really exciting to be a part of. That's really cool. So if people want to find you, how do they find you? How do they find Playsight? Yeah, so Playsight.com, www.playsight.com. They should definitely download the Playsight app, which another thing I'd want people to know, you can use the Playsight app whether or not you have a smart court. So download the app. You can take video manually. That you can then annotate the video, create clips with it, post it to social media, share it with your coach or player or players. And so definitely check out the Playsight app. And but on www.playsight.com, you'll find our information, descriptions of the products we have. Our email is info@playsight.com, sales@playsight.com. You can reach us there. And that's how you can find us. And the app is available through your website in the App Store? Yeah, the App Store. You download it for free and use the features for free. It's all free. And you can also tune into live stream for free. So some of the schools, some of the clubs that we work with, they decide to host live streaming on our website, and then anyone can tune in to the streaming. Through the app. And enjoy it through the app or through the website. Okay. Yep. Very cool. Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this week. I've learned a lot, and I love the product. And as a parent of a player, and where I can't always be there, I love being able to pull it up on my phone or pull it up on my laptop and watch the matches. And so for the parents out there, I hope you guys will start asking that question. Maybe your players want to start asking that question during the recruiting process. Does this school have Playsight? What do you think, Josh? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can be anywhere in the country and watch the match. You don't have to fly across the country anymore or across the world for the foreign players.
Well, do you think, this may be a big recruiting tool for schools moving forward too, right?
Absolutely. If you're trying to get a guy who's in Germany or England or, Australia, and they're thinking about coming to your school or one without Playsight, hopefully they'll choose yours. Just their parents will be able to watch all the matches, their friends back at home. I think it's a great recruiting tool.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Josh, again, thank you so much, and have fun the rest of the week at the championships. And dare I say, go Dogs right now? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but hey, it's the home team, so there you go.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Don't miss a thing on Parenting Aces. Be sure to sign up for our free e-newsletter so you're among the first to know when a new article is posted. Simply go to parentingaces.com and enter your email address, then click subscribe in the Subscribe for Updates box on the left side of the page. I'm Lisa Stone, and you've been listening to the Parenting Aces podcast. For tennis parents, by a tennis parent. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to us and write a review on iTunes. For more information on navigating the junior and college tennis journey, visit us online at parentingaces.com. As always, a huge thank you to our sponsor, tennisballs.com.